Hey, this is Mike from the Run Testers. I'm here in Dubai. Yes, I should have better coordinated with Tom, who was here last week. Now, unlike Tom, I'm not here on holiday. I'm here with Under Armour for the launch of this shoe, the Infinite Elite 2. I was also able to get the lowdown on some other shoes that will be launching in 2025 from Under Armour. That includes more details on the Velocity Elite 3 and some other faster shoes that will be joining it, and that will be coming later in 2025. In this video, though, I'll be talking about the Infinite Elite 2, which is the update to the Infinite Elite, which launched last year. We were there for the European launch, myself, Nick and Kieran. Now, there are some changes to what you'd probably describe as a kind of very solid cushion daily trainer shoe. Could be a good long run shoe as well. Now, it's fair to say we thought it was a good shoe, the Infinite Elite. I think it probably, in terms of, standing out from the crowd, it probably just didn't do quite enough, and there definitely was some things to work with. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is take you through what's changed from the Infinite Elite, and there definitely has been some things that have changed here. Get into some initial running thoughts. I've done a few runs in a few different places over the last few days in the shoe, and then get into some early thoughts on what I'm feeling and thinking about the Under Armour Infinite Elite 2. So here's the lowdown on the Under Armour Infinite Elite 2. It's priced at £145 in the UK or $160 in the US, so it's sticking to the same price as the first Elite. This is a shoe that now weighs in lighter, dropping from 326 grams to 283 grams in a men's UK size 9. The drop remains the same at 8mm, but it's now 38mm at the rear compared to 36mm on the original, and it's still 28mm at the forefoot. That gives you more of that full length of Hovr Plus cushioning that's now made from a softer compound compared to the original, to provide a comfort boost while protecting your legs at the same time. There's also an added crash pad to offer smoother landings at the heel. There's an engineered mesh upper now to improve breathability, and a similar outsole to make it one you can cover plenty of running mileage in. So in terms of fit, I've got the Infinite Elite 2 in a UK size 8. That's the same size that I have the Infinite Elite in. And I would say, like the original, it fits true to size for me. I think it's a relatively broad kind of fitting shoe, not too narrow. I think very roomy in that toe box area. It opens up it in that midfoot area as well too. You've got kind of a lacing and tongue combo, which is, pretty no nonsense. You're getting a good level of padding there, no discomfort on the top of my feet in my runs. You've got similar level of padding in the heel collar as well, and there is a little bit of a change in terms of that heel collar kind of design. It's a little bit more open, I would say, a little bit more relaxed compared to the more narrow one that you're getting on the Infinite Elite. I was a little bit concerned whether I'd get some irritation here at the Achilles, but it hasn't been an issue, particularly when I've gone that longer run, when it's been a bit more hard work to kind of run, a little bit tiring, and kind of dropping back on that hill, whether that would cause any issues for me, but that hasn't been the case. So for me, I think it fits very similar to the Infinite Elite. I think the upper changes, I think improvement probably makes it a little bit more breathable. Though if you are looking at this shoe and you've used this shoe, then I feel like this is going to fit true to size and very similar to the Infinite Elite. So into my running time with the Infinite Elite 2, and I've done over 30k in this shoe over the last few days. I have done 4 runs in total. My first run was an 8k run, kind of moderate pace, not far off getting into the hotel and getting straight out into this shoe. I've done a couple of shorter runs, kind of just over 6k, again, kind of easy, moderate pace. And then I did a longer, very easy kind of 12k run in some pretty hot conditions. Now, what I would say is my experience of the Infinite Elite is that it was a good cushioned daily trainer shoe, but there was definitely some things I would have changed, I would have done differently. And I think, given the other shoes in this category, you would just grab those shoes over the Infinite Elite. And clearly Under Armour has listened to the feedback, realised that it had to, address some issues here. I think the first one for me, and you do really notice it, straight off that first run for me, is that there's a, significant drop in weight here. This is the weight the first shoe really should have been at, because, that shoe just felt like a whole lot of shoe to run in, and it made it a bit of a challenge, I think, to really get out. I want to spend a lot of time. And it, particularly when you've still got quite a kind of thick padded upper, and it just overall it just felt like a very clunky shoe to be out in. So there's a lot of areas where that weight has been reduced, whether it's around the heel area in general, in terms of what you're getting in the midsole now. I think it's just a better package in terms of that overall weight, and that's something I definitely noticed, instantly in that first run and the other runs that I've done in this shoe. I think the other big thing here is the change, the Hovr Plus cushioning here. It was pretty firm in the Infinite Elite. It's definitely noticeably softer. It isn't the plushest kind of cushioning technology on foam you're going to get on a this kind of stack of shoe, but I think it's definitely a massive improvement on the Infinite Elite, and it just feels more comfortable to wear this, to spend more time in it. I still do think you get quite a nice stable shoe. It's a relatively broad shoe, so you're getting naturally something that feels quite stable, rolls through very nicely. I think as a package, now that it's lighter, now that it's softer, I still think easy paces. I do think when I have tried to pick up the pace in this shoe, I would say kind of more moderate pace. It's been fine and acceptable to do it in this shoe compared to the first shoe. In terms of the outsole, it's near identical to the one on the Infinite Elite. You can see that the pattern is similar, the coverage is similar as well. It's a similar level of rubber here as well. Now, I've been running in very dry conditions over the last few days. I've been running mainly on pavements where there is some pavement and areas where it's relatively flat. So for me, from the gripping point of view, it's been absolutely fine. The real test will be when I get home, it starts to rain, it's a bit wetter, and seeing how it handles from that point of view. But given it's very similar to the Infinite Elite in terms of that design, I expect it to perform in a similar fashion. So yeah, all good from that front on the outsole. And I think, overall, I think, all of the runs, it's kind of been, for me, I'm seeing the improvements. And it's good to see that Under Armour has listened. It's looked at the key things that it's needed to fix here. And as a result, it feels like a much more accomplished, better shoe that I think is more comfortable, it's lighter, still has those qualities of the Infinite Elite, which make it a good shoe to, if you want something that's comfortable, protective, and is going to roll through very nicely, very smoothly at those kind of easy to moderate paces. I feel like it is a better package to do that now based on my initial running time. So some early thoughts on the Under Armour Infinite Elite 2 after a few sunny runs in it. And I would say that it is definitely, first and foremost, better for me than the Infinite Elite. The changes have made it a nicer shoe. Having it as a lighter shoe, a more comfortable shoe, a softer midsole that does still have those kind of nice smooth transitions in this shoe as well, like the Infinite, but definitely in a more effective and more likable way. And I think, this is, a much more polished effort from Under Armour. So I think it's worth talking about price here with the Infinite Elite 2. So it's sticking to £145 like the Infinite Elite. And I think if you look at it against other shoes that I think it's, invariably has to be compared to, I think, springs to mind. I'm thinking things like the Brooks Glycerin 22, the Asics Gel Nimbus 27, the New Balance 1080 V14. It's cheaper than all of those shoes, and I think a bunch of others that I think sit in the same category. I think what's interesting for me is I think, maybe Under Armour could have been a bit even more aggressive with the pricing of this shoe. And I think, the idea of it dropping even close to £100, I think would make it, a good option. When it has all of what I'm seeing, similar qualities of those shoes. I think maybe you're getting a touch more versatility with some of those shoes that I mentioned, but I think I would be using those shoes for the same types of runs as this shoe and what I'm seeing in this shoe so far. So are you getting, significantly more out of those shoes for more money? I think that's to be seen in testing. But I think, I think the only thing for me is that, I think it would have been an opportunity for maybe Under Armour to really undercut the competition, because I think it's got on paper here a very kind of, polished kind of cushioned daily trainer here that, as I said, has hallmarks of those other shoes I mentioned that cost a little bit more. It's just whether, it's going to be better than the competition, which, once I've done a bit more running, definitely done a bit more in terms of those longer runs as well, whether it still holds up and retains those qualities, that's to be seen. But so far, I've definitely preferred this more than the Infinite Elite, and it feels light and day for me so far in my running time. Okay, so there you have it, some early thoughts after a few runs in the Under Armour Infinite Elite 2. Definitely feels like a better shoe than its predecessor. Now, we're waiting until some of the other guys in the team get hold of the shoe so we can do a multi-tester review of it. But in the meantime, if you've got any questions about this shoe, other shoes you're desperate to know how it's going to compare to, do let us know in the comments. As always, like and subscribe, hit that little bell to find out about our latest videos, and see you for the next run tester video.